Hi everyone, this is DeFi Dad. Today I'm going to show you how I'm earning a little over 30% on my Bitcoin that has been tokenized on Ethereum. And I'm doing it with this balancer pool. So this is a balancer pool that uses two different assets in a 50-50 ratio. So we've got wrapped Bitcoin and renBTC. The reason I thought of this is because BlockFi, which is a centralized service, but also a very popular crypto service for lending your assets and also taking out loans, they pay what is undeniably a great rate of 6% annually on Bitcoin, 4.5% on Ether, and 8.6% on USDC. Now, again, that's interesting, but I would rather earn 30% on my Bitcoin. Now, there's more risks that I'm going to take, and I'm going to show you and walk you through what those risks are and just the steps that are involved in becoming a liquidity provider on Balancer. But at the end of the day, I'm in control of my assets, and I don't have to give up any of my data in order to do this. The first thing I want to cover is, what is Balancer? What is the utility that's driving people to use Balancer, and why am I able to provide my funds as a liquidity provider and earn returns on that? So Balancer calls itself a protocol for programmable liquidity. It's really building upon mechanisms that are referred to as an automated market maker that were first pioneered by Bancor and Uniswap. The progress here in that innovation is the fact that when I use Balancer, I can add up to 8 different tokens into a pool. And so I can sort of create like a DeFi ETF. I can customize the weights to decide what sort of exposure I have to these different tokens. So here's some simple examples. Here's a pool with 50% BAL, 50% WETH. Here's another one with 75% Link and 25% WETH. And then you've got pools even where you have 90% of one token and 10% of another. And you can imagine adding more and more tokens too is very powerful, because you could create your own custom pool, which is going to allow you to maintain a certain percentage or weight of exposure to certain tokens. But this also in turn allows for lots more liquidity so that you can trade between any different tokens in the balancer pool. And so they call this smart order routing. Trades are split through an SOR, smart order routing, which performs an optimization across all pools for best price execution. All this means is that I'm getting trades at less slippage and at the best rate. And the fact that all of this utility is built using DeFi protocols, which means that everything happening here is permissionless. There is no whitelisting. You know, someone can come in and they can create a pool. They can list a token. There's no need when, let's say, a new token is released, like the meta governance token or comp or any other future tokens that come out. All you need is someone that's brave enough to provide liquidity. And if they're willing to provide it and work with some of the challenges around an automated market maker, folks can start to then trade those tokens. So the days of paying a centralized exchange to list your token, or even just waiting for them to do due diligence, those days are gone. That's why we're using DEXs. So here's the heart of what everyone uses in Balancer. It's a swap, just like what you've seen in like a Uniswap or Bancor or Matcha. It's the ability to start with one token, to sell it, and to buy something else. And so let's say I've got 300 DAI. I will be able to get 0.9636 ETH. So if you understand why it's so important for us to have permissionless trading on a tool like Balancer, where I can just swap between tokens at whatever the market price is, you can then understand why it's important for others to provide the liquidity or to provide the tokens so that ultimately others can trade between those tokens. And so what I'm going to provide liquidity for is the wrapped Bitcoin, renBTC pool that is 50-50. The reason I like this is because these are essentially identical assets. They're both tokenized Bitcoin. And renBitcoin tends to trade a little bit higher than wrapped Bitcoin. So you'll notice here the difference, even though it's in a 50-50 proportion, the market clearly values renBitcoin a little bit more than wrapped Bitcoin at this point. And so that 50% here is made up of a little more wrapped Bitcoin because it's just a little less valuable than renBitcoin. And when someone comes to trade renBitcoin for wrapped Bitcoin or vice versa, they come here and they pay a 0.1% pool swap fee. And then whatever share of the pool I own, I will then earn a portion of that pool swap fee. However, on top of that, there are these BAL rewards. Balancer is rewarding you for providing liquidity in Balancer. And so there's this website, predictions.exchange/balancer. If you go here, you can look up pools and you can put in how much liquidity you would provide, and it'll give you an estimate of how much BAL you would earn. So let's look up the renBitcoin pool. Here we go. And I'm going to put in 1 Bitcoin in this demo. So let's say that's $11,000, lot of money. I want to emphasize the fact that I prefer my Bitcoin on Ethereum. So based on the market price of BAL, which is currently $8.91, this has been up at a high of $22. As this price goes up, these rewards become more valuable. But all you need to know is that based on $11,000 of liquidity, I am earning a 29.5% return. And that's based on 364.2 BAL, which would be rewarded over the course of 52 weeks if I were to do this. And so 364 divided by 52 means about 7 BAL per week. 7 times 9 is about $63 per week. Another way to think about this, though, is that if I hold on to that BAL token, and I'm not advising anyone do this, but if I believe that the BAL token can be more valuable in the future, obviously this return rises. So if the price here goes up to, let's say, $16, $17, I'm getting twice as much in terms of USD, the value of my actual returns versus the liquidity that I provided. So that's where I'm getting the idea that I can earn 29.5% on my Bitcoin liquidity. The challenge is that I have to be able to tokenize it into renBitcoin or into wrapped Bitcoin. And then I can deposit it here by adding liquidity, clicking on the single asset, and I'll be able to then deposit that, and it'll actually split it into this 50-50 ratio. So I'm going to walk you through how I minted 1 renBitcoin in order to provide liquidity to this pool in a 50-50 ratio, because I am comfortable holding both wrapped Bitcoin and renBitcoin. And then for doing that, I'm earning that 29.5% return on that, or 364.2 BAL. And once I receive those weekly rewards of BAL, I can choose to, again, hold on to it. I can also choose to trade it on Balancer or anywhere else that has liquidity for BAL in Ethereum. I can end up trading it for other tokens like Ether. Before I can become a liquidity provider in the Balancer pool, I need to mint renBitcoin. So I'm going to go to bridge.renproject.io, and I'm going to connect my wallet. So we'll go ahead and click sign to confirm. So all I've done is connect my Ethereum wallet, which is MetaMask in this case, because that is the destination or the recipient wallet. So obviously I'm starting with Bitcoin in a Bitcoin wallet somewhere. And in order to mint renBitcoin, I need a place for this to end up. So what I'll do is I'll punch in that I'm going to mint 1 renBitcoin. And then you notice I'm going to receive 0.99830. So we're going to mint Bitcoin. We are going to send that to my MetaMask wallet, which matches here. We've got a Ren virtual machine fee of 10 basis points. So that's the 0.001, so 0.1% of my 1 Bitcoin. And then the network fee, which is being paid to miners. And I'm going to receive 0.9983 renBitcoin. So we hit confirm. So this is where the Ren virtual machine provides me a Bitcoin address to send my Bitcoin, which will then be used to mint Ren Bitcoin. Please know this is a one-time use address. You should never reuse an address. You could risk losing your funds if you reuse an address. Don't send more Bitcoin than you specified here. If you need to, you can just quit this process and you can start all over again. All you have to do is click on the little widget here and click delete transfer. Another thing to note is that they have a little QR code here. You can light that up and then you can use that to scan with your Bitcoin wallet. So I'll be right back. I'm gonna go scan this and send my Bitcoin to it, and then I'll show you the next step. All right, so I just sent my Bitcoin. It took about 10 seconds, but you can see now that my transaction ID is available, which means I can go check on the Bitcoin blockchain through one of the Explorer tools and actually see the transaction is pending. And then I'm gonna wait for up to 6 confirmations on the blockchain before I have access to withdraw my Ren Bitcoin. But this is exactly what you should see. I would recommend not closing your window, although you should be able to reopen it if you do close it. But just as a precaution, again, this is all new technology. I would exercise every caution to leave these windows open and remain at your computer until this is completed. All right, I'm back, and the transaction of Bitcoin I sent to the Ren virtual machine has confirmed 6 block confirmations. So I'm going to click here. We'll click Submit to Ethereum. And before I send this transaction, I've just checked the ethgasstation.info, and 43 Gwei looks like it'll push this through in less than 5 minutes. So we'll hit confirm. Now I've got this transaction hash. This is the renBTC that's actually going to push or send to my Ethereum wallet. So if I click here, we should be able to track it. And yeah, should be a really short transaction. Oh, and it's done. Huh, that's cool. Always love it when a transaction goes through quickly after waiting 45 minutes for the Bitcoin transaction to go through. There we go. That's what we like to see. Deposit received. There's the original Bitcoin transaction if I want to go back and look at it, but I don't care about that now because I have renBTC on Ethereum. By the way, I paid about $2 in gas for that Ethereum transaction to push the renBTC to my destination wallet. And then the original Bitcoin I sent from my Bitcoin wallet was about $3.43. So that's about $5 in fees I've lost. And then lastly, I've lost about 0.0017 Bitcoin just to Ren virtual machine fees. So that comes to about $18 with Bitcoin priced at around $11,000. So I paid about $25 in total for all of this, but my forecasted returns are much higher. You know, in a single week, I'll make more than $25 off of this. Just looking at 364 divided by 52, which is 7 BAL per week times, let's say $9, that's $63. I'm profitable within a few days. I'm now ready to become a liquidity provider in this pool. And since I have all Ren Bitcoin, one of the convenient things when I add liquidity is I can choose single asset deposit. This means that I don't have to prepare a 50-50 ratio of wrapped Bitcoin and Ren Bitcoin. So I'm going to choose renBTC. I'm going to put in how much I want to deposit. So let's do the maximum here. and then I'm going to click unlock renBitcoin. This is going to take me through two different transactions. The first one is me giving approval to spend the 0.9983007 renBitcoin, giving permission for my wallet to spend that. The second transaction is where I actually deposit it. Gas prices right now are actually a little more reasonable today. To push it through in less than 5 minutes, it is 43 Gwei, according to the ETH gas station. So I'm going to check this under advanced. It's 43, all good to go. Let's also make sure I'm giving permission to only spend that amount of renBitcoin. And one other thing I could be doing, let's pretend that I had more Bitcoin or renBitcoin that I'm going to mint. This would make sense to make this unlimited just for the time being. So just for now, I'm going to leave this at unlimited, but know that I'm going to use the token allowance checker to edit it back to 0 later. I might put a little more into the pool. I'm just not quite sure yet. Okay, so I know that the transaction just went through because I can see the little lock has been flipped. It now has flipped this button from unlock to add liquidity. Also, I have the Zerion mobile app and it sends me push notifications when transactions go through. So let's go ahead and add liquidity. All right, the ETH gas station indicates this is a fair gas price to push through a transaction in less than 5 minutes. So I'm going to leave it at 43 Gwei and we're all good to go. All right, the transaction went through, so I did it. My Bitcoin has been tokenized into renBitcoin, and then because I added liquidity through the single asset deposit, it's split it 50-50. So I now have about almost 0.5 wrapped Bitcoin and almost 0.5 renBTC. And this means I own 0.27% of the pool, and the pool is about 4 million in terms of total liquidity. And anyone that trades between those two assets, I will earn 0.27% of 0.1% pool swap fees. There's not a whole lot of volume on here right now, so I'm not really banking on much of a return there. But the fact is that because of the balancer pool tokens I now own, I'm going to earn this 29.5% based on the prices of today. And that accounts for 364.2 BAL annually. Based on the $11,000 of liquidity I provided. Let's recap all the risks involved in the steps that I took today to tokenize Bitcoin and then become a liquidity provider on Balancer. So first off, if we go back to the Ren bridge, this is, as they've put it here, a new technology and security audits don't completely eliminate risks. Please don't supply assets you cannot afford to lose. This is new technology, which means new code, which means new opportunity for smart contract bugs. Please just be aware that there's always a chance that something could go wrong here that's unforeseen in the code. A second thing to consider is there's lots of room for manual error here. I need to make sure that I put in 1 Bitcoin if I'm going to send 1 Bitcoin to the Ren virtual machine. I need to make sure that I'm careful to use the proper Ren virtual machine address that they provide me and that I only use it once. I need to make sure that I'm not switching up my Ethereum wallet and playing with other Ethereum applications. I can't say that this would definitely cause me issue, but I don't think that it's a good idea if I have value that's being minted through the Ren bridge to be switching my Ethereum wallet on different windows and applications. I've never had an issue, but it's just a precaution that I take. I wait until the minting process has gone through 6 block confirmations. Then there's risk in me using Balancer. Balancer has its own code, and hence it has its own risk in terms of smart contract bugs. Another thing for me to be conscious of is a liquidity crunch. Let's pretend that someone comes in this $4 million pool and tries to trade 2 million of wrapped Bitcoin to renBitcoin. Because these are near equivalent assets, I'm not as concerned, but it would definitely throw off this 50-50 ratio until someone came in and arbitraged it. There's governance compromise just because the Balancer DAO is really new, and I guess I would be concerned if someone obtained enough Balancer pool tokens to game the DAO and vote in a manner that could be hurtful to me or others that are participating in Balancer. Lastly, I would be concerned about the peg for wrapped Bitcoin holding. I'm accepting risk in the fact that wrapped Bitcoin is custodied by BitGo. Now, it's been around for quite some time, and it makes up actually almost 75% of the 218 million in tokenized Bitcoin on Ethereum. That being said, I don't know what I don't know here, and it's more risk that I consider when I'm participating in these pools with wrapped Bitcoin. All right, that's all I've got for you today. I hope that this demonstrates the insane power of these DeFi applications and protocols. I was able to take my Bitcoin, tokenize it into renBTC, and then deposit it into a pool where I'm now a liquidity provider, and I am earning rewards, which are from the Balancer protocol that add up to around 30% APY. This is exactly why there is over 218 million in tokenized Bitcoin on Ethereum. When you use these protocols, you can trustlessly, in a peer-to-peer manner, transform your Bitcoin and allow yourself to put that Bitcoin to work. If you have any questions, please comment on the YouTube video. Also, you can comment on my Twitter posts, try to get to everyone's questions so I can help. Otherwise, I will see you next time.